Let's turn now to the impact on airlines that we have seen from the government shutdown, which led the Federal Aviation Administration to reduce air traffic by 10% at 40 airports across the country. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy now says commercial air travel in the U.S. will be reduced to a trickle ahead of Thanksgiving. Joining us for more, George Ferguson, Bloomberg Intelligence senior aerospace, defense, and airlines industry analyst. George, it's good to see you. Seems like we're coming to the end of this thing, hopefully. How long, then, is it going to take for schedules to return to normal?
I mean, I think you could do it in a couple of days. I mean, right now there hasn't been a lot of cuts as it is, right? I think we're still well below 10% kind of cuts to operations. So there's not much more to restore. I think the airlines are just sort of pick up their old schedules. I think the challenge is getting the getting the controllers paid and getting them back on the job right away.
When all is said and done, how much do you think this is going to cost the airlines?
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're not too excited about it, right? I think you see that too in some of the stock prices today. Look, I think if you're an airline right now and you're being asked to cut some of your operations, you're going to go pick some of the least profitable operations. You're going to pick the smaller aircraft. And they're not even at 10%. Again, what I've heard Friday was sort of 4-ish, 5-ish%. So you cut 4 or 5% of your worst performing flights. I think you might even see a slight margin increase, and maybe on an absolute level, profits are a little bit lower, cash flows a little lower. So we're not excited about it yet. Now, look, if this drags on, I think the controllers are at this point where they've missed enough paychecks, where some of them will be not willing to pick up additional shifts, and that creates problems in the air traffic control system. I don't think they're going to shirk their duties and not show up for work entirely, but again, sort of the extra shifts, I think helps keep things going in the U.S. airspace. And I think then you're going to start to have more effect on operations. And as you roll into Thanksgiving, which is a sort of peak travel, it's a big peak crunch travel time, then I start to get concerned about profits for 4Q, because that's those are sort of usually high ticket prices, a lot of demand, and that's what's going to help build a lot of the airline profitability for 4Q.
George, to dig into Thanksgiving a little bit, I mean, had we seen people holding back or even canceling their Thanksgiving flights because of anticipated disruptions from all of this?
So typically what we see is that leisure travelers are booking sort of 50-ish, 55, 56 days before travel. And so I would expect that the majority of Thanksgiving is actually already purchased. It gets into the plus 60 days as you get into December. So as people think about the year-end holidays. So even those tickets are probably largely purchased. The challenge, usually business comes in short order and, 2 weeks out buys a ticket for travel. Business travelers really don't, sort of go on trips here, after sort of the first week in November until after Thanksgiving. Then there's a small window that opens, and then you get into the year-end holidays. So I think the tickets are already purchased. I don't think people can cancel and get a full refund. They might be able to get credit. So I don't see demand dropping off. So I think it's sort of already booked. The question is, will it fly?
And I'm also curious, just generally, how Thanksgiving is going to look this year. It's always kind of messy, right? Just holiday times at U.S. airports tend to be. But what are the volumes this year versus what we've seen in recent years, and are the airlines up to it?
So I would expect volumes to be up, 4 or 5% over last year, sort of in line with some of the supply additions we've seen from the U.S. carriers. Again, if the U.S. government stays closed over that time period, I'm very concerned that it would be a mess, because Thanksgiving is a real crunch, right? Everybody sort of gets away for a weekend. You want to go home and see grandma or mom. You don't want to spend a lot of, a week's worth of vacation getting there. So it's a real tight crunch. And if the government stays closed, it could be a mess. A lot of airlines will owe credits maybe for people that can't fly, but it could be a real mess. Yeah.
And George, we were just talking to Henriette about how, this agreement to reopen the government looks like it's going to just push it off until January. Is there anything sort of defensively that the airlines can do to, prepare for this potentially happening again, or they're sort of at the mercy of the air traffic controllers?
I mean, I think they're a bit at the mercy. I mean, this is coming again in sort of the airlines' non-peak seasons, 4Q and 1Q. You get it past the holidays, and the airlines can make their money on the holiday season. I think the next big concern the airlines are going to have is sort of getting into March, getting into spring break, maybe late February. So for the airlines, if you want a fight going on that's going to affect air traffic control, and again, maybe TSA, yeah, you probably January is probably an okay time to have it. You don't really want it, but January is probably an okay time to have it.